Brian, maybe mute they too, just so that nothing, unless you need to say something, of course, I guess.
No, what I'm going to do right now, guys, is I'm going to hit mute and it's going to mute everybody. You won't be able to unmute yourselves because sometimes people have accidentally unmuted themselves before, unbeknownst. And we've all got funny stories with Zoom, so it's better just to not have them. So, anyway, I've got everybody muted just so you don't have any background noise. It should be the same with anybody that jumps in the room. And here's kind of the format. We're going to cover the material that we could, we would have covered in person. You'll just get to do it this way. And then we'll go straight through nonstop. And the reason we want to do that is just that way we can respect everybody's time. And then at the end, like Allison said, and thank you, Allison, for inviting me to share this with everybody. At the end, if you have questions, I'm available to stay as long as we need to. And that way, if anybody needs to jump off, they can. And I'll be sharing a presentation during this. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. So you won't have to just stare at me the whole time. You'll get to see some slides and videos, and I'll make sure real quick our audio is live on this. Okay, it wasn't. Good thing I checked. Okay, audio is live. Let's see here. We'll be right back with you and we'll get started. Okay. Can everybody see something on screen that says join the healing revolution? 2 thumbs up there. If you can, Allison, I trust everyone else can as well. I'll get my screen up to speed where it needs to be and we can take off. Let's see here. Every now and then they make systemic changes to Zoom, and that's always interesting. But it's all good. Okay. All right. We're just about ready to go, guys. Thank you for your patience. Okay. All right. So, guys, what we're talking about is regenerative wellness, and it's rooted in stem cell therapy, and some people call it cell factor therapy. And what it is it is really the wave of the future. If you really find out about what all the experts are saying about where health and medical and healing is going, they all agree that stem cell therapy is going to be a huge part of that in the future. But the thing is, you don't have to wait till the future. It sounds cliche, but the future's here and the future's now. Our company has done approximately 600,000 stem cell therapies in the United States of America in the last 10 years. And you're going to walk away from this with a new tool in your toolkit, so to speak, of how to activate health and wellness in your life. And the reason this is so impactful is kind of we all have the same issue as we're getting older. That problem is degeneration, or to degenerate. It means to deteriorate both physically or mentally, to go into disrepair, to fall apart, break down, be less than your former self. So all of us are fighting degeneration as we're aging, and we don't want to do that. And what we want to do is experience regeneration, which means to build, to grow, to repair, or even to create new tissue. And really, that's what this therapy has the ability to do: to build, to grow, to repair, and even to create new tissue. So I've got a short video here I'm going to let you watch that's going to kind of bring you up to speed quickly about what this therapy does and what it's about.
Stem cells are the master cells of the body, the building blocks of tissues and organs. The umbilical cord and the blood left in it at birth contain a broad diversity of pristine newborn stem cells that have demonstrated the ability to help other tissues and organs heal themselves after injury or disease. While researchers have yet to identify every type of newborn cell,
Slight technical issue. We will fix that real quick here. Okay, we'll restart that. Okay, guys?
stems have demonstrated the ability to help other tissues and organs heal themselves after injury or disease. While researchers have yet to identify every type of newborn stem cell, They have isolated specific stem cells that are the building blocks for other cells and organ tissue throughout the body. Hematopoietic stem cells, found in cord blood, have been used for 20 years to help regenerate the body's blood and immune system. Mesenchymal stem cells, found primarily in the umbilical cord tissue itself, have the ability to help form bone or connective tissues like cartilage and ligaments. Stem cells from the umbilical cord and cord blood have distinct benefits compared to adult stem cells from bone marrow. They're younger, have greater ability to multiply, and have had minimal exposure to environmental factors like viruses or chemicals that can interfere with cell structure and function. But what remains a question is how newborn stem cells work together to help the body heal. Researchers theorize that this diverse population of cells functions like a symphony, each type of cell having a different role to perform in healing damaged tissue and cells. Current research suggests that newborn stem cells help orchestrate a natural repair process by helping to reduce inflammation, stimulate the growth of blood vessels, improve blood flow to injured areas, and ultimately enabling injured cells to repair themselves.
All right, guys, I'm making one real short modification to the format of my screen because let's see here, Zoom has changed some things since I did this presentation last. So, okay, we should be good to go. Everybody can still see the presentation and you can still hear me okay. Excellent, okay. We shouldn't have another issue. Thanks for your patience. Okay, so we're talking about the diverse population of stem cells, which is in the human umbilical cord, and they are your body's one and only internal repair system, and you received your internal repair system the day you were born through the umbilical cord that was hooked up inside you. So the source of stem cells we have today, this is great. We have a healthy baby, we have a healthy mom, that baby is born, that baby receives all the stem cells that baby can from the human umbilical cord, and yet there remains a massive superabundance of stem cells in the human umbilical cord, inside the human umbilical cord, which we are able to harvest. So there's no harm to a baby, there's no harm to a mom. We're simply using a resource that due to our ignorance previously, we would throw away and waste. And we're able to take that umbilical cord, remove the cord blood, which has a lot, when I say a lot, that's a massive understatement, a tremendous amount of stem cells still inside that cord blood by our technicians. When the baby is born, goes back to our laboratories where they do computerized cell separation at a minimum of 99.95%. They remove all the blood. So you don't get any blood, all you get is stem cells. So they do the computerized cell separation, and then those stem cells are put through a battery of tests to ensure they're healthy. And if they pass all the tests, then you can receive that therapy later in life. And those stem cells are injected intravenously in about 3.5 minutes. They travel through your entire body, passing the blood-brain barrier, and they just have incredible impact on your health. And so the thing I love about this is this wasn't hidden from us. It was hidden for us. I believe God hid this for us. I believe this is God's medicine. He designed it so every time a baby is born, there's a leftover umbilical cord. Of course, we didn't know what that meant for a long time, and now we finally understand that. We're finally able to harvest it, and you're going to see two things as we go on. Number one, what all this therapy can do in your body, and you're going to see how it can impact your health and everything. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with this and look at what do these cells, if somebody received these cells in their body, what is it going to do to your body? Number one, as these cells are released intravenously, they're going to seek out degeneration. They're going to build, repair, and even create new tissue. Now, guys, it's easy to say, oh, they're going to do this or that, but I will show you X-ray evidence as we go forward to show you before and afters of people that receive this therapy and how it's impacted their body. Okay, so they have the capacity to build, repair, and create new tissue. Now, the reason they can create new tissue, it was stem cells that built you from one cell at conception to 26 trillion cells as a newborn infant, from 26 trillion cells as a newborn infant to approximately 45 trillion cells as a full-grown adult. So stem cells built every cell in your body, every system in your body. They assembled you according to your DNA blueprint. That's what they do. And so they're your body's one and only internal repair system. But not only that, they also do another thing that really has an impact on how you feel and how you age and how you avoid disease. And that is they replace the tissues in your body periodically according to the design. So what I mean by that is every so often, your body is supposed to completely replace itself with new cells. For instance, your small intestine, every 15 days, is supposed to completely replace itself with new cells. Now, to do that, you have to have a lot of stem cells in your body. Okay. So that's how that works. And so they're very, very vital to our health. So when we receive them, they build, repair, create new tissue. Number two, they're massively anti-inflammatory, or they bring down the inflammation level in our body. Now, they don't do that like taking a supplement would do, where it just temporarily masks the symptoms. The reason our inflammation comes down in our body when we receive this therapy is all the repair of damage in our body that's causing inflammation. So these cells actually repair your body. And when I say repair, I'm not just talking about something you perceive as a sickness or disease. I'm talking the wear and tear of you aging. Your body rewinds to a previous younger state when you receive this therapy, which, having received this, I can tell you, is absolutely amazing, phenomenal, and there's really no words to describe it, how wonderful it is. So the next thing these cells will do is they are immunomodulatory, meaning they will modulate or adjust the immune system. People have two problems potentially with their immune system. One is they have a suppressed immune system. In this case, you get sick more often for a longer duration of time with more intense symptoms. These cells are viral, antibacterial, antifungal. They will elevate your immune system to the proper level so you are, sick a lot less misery, and that's wonderful. But the other issue that so many people have right now is they have the problem of autoimmune diseases. And an autoimmune disease, I'll just give you some examples. Type 1 and type 2 diabetes are autoimmune diseases. Fibromyalgia, Crohn's disease, Hashimoto's. These are some of the most common ones you've heard of. And what it is, it's when your own body attacks its own tissues. And based on where that attack happens in your body will precipitate either what symptoms or sickness you have. So the reason the body does that is the immune system is kind of stuck in overdrive mode. And rather than attacking a pathogen in your body, your immune system actually attacks your own tissue. Based on where that happens determines the symptoms and or diagnosis you would get from your doctor of what disease would develop. Now, here's the wonderful thing. These cells will go in and they will unstick that switch on the immune system, bring it back down to the optimal level. Two things happen. Number one, the autoimmune disease starts progressing and getting worse. It comes to a grinding halt first. And now what are these stem cells? They're your body's one and only internal repair system. So now they're going to start reversing the damage caused by your own immune system, and you start getting better. And sometimes, many times, we have people completely reverse from autoimmune diseases, including autoimmune diseases that normally are impossible to see reversed. And I'll share a couple testimonies in a minute about that. But I want to keep moving forward. Yes, Allison. Let me unmute you real quick. Okay, I just asked you to unmute. Go ahead.
Is someone waiting?
Let's see here.
My parents are trying to get on, maybe.
Okay, I just saw them and they're on now.
Perfect.
Yep, it was on a different window. Thank you so much for letting me know.
Yep.
Okay. Welcome if you just jumped on. And so immunomodulatory. So a suppressed immune system will get elevated, an out of control immune system will be brought down to the right level. So that has of course, a wonderful impact on our health and wellness when our immune system is optimized. I can tell you by experience that I almost never get sick and I never feel bad, and it's just wonderful. And of course, you want everybody to feel that way. The next thing these cells do is they perform something called angiogenesis, or they're angiogenic. And, you know, as you look at the screen right here, you see on the left a leg with poor blood flow. And then you see 90 days later after therapy, the development of arteries and veins in that leg. And so why is this so important? So these cells are angiogenic. They will, anywhere in your body, there's poor blood flow, they will help develop new arteries and veins. And now why is that so impactful? We know the life of the flesh is in the blood. The blood carries the oxygen and the nutrients to the cells. It carries away from the cells the carbon dioxide and waste products, but also, you know, that Bible verse says the life of the flesh is in the blood. Guess what's in the blood? The stem cells. Guess what the stem cells do? All internal repairs in the body. So anywhere blood flows, life goes. Anywhere you don't have good blood supply, that tissue cannot be healthy. And so these cells are going through, circulating through your body, and they're finding any area of your body that doesn't have good blood supply, and they can build and create new arteries and veins to help that area of your body replenish itself, including your heart, including your brain, including any other part of your body. Okay? So that's what these cells do. Now, the reason this therapy is so incredibly potent and powerful and life-changing for so many people is this huge fact that as we age, we are losing a massive amount of stem cells, and the ones we have left don't work as well. Okay, now what are stem cells? They are your body's one and only internal repair system. We had some people just jump on. So here's what they do. They seek out degeneration. They build, repair, create new tissue. They're anti-inflammatory. They're effective in reducing inflammation. They're immunomodulatory. They help modulate the body's immune response. And they're angiogenic, as I just covered. But here's the thing. As we age, we're losing a massive amount of stem cells, and the ones we have left don't work as well. So all the things I just listed, they do, that stops working in your body so well as you age. So let me show you the math on this. For me, when I saw this, it was a real eye-opener, okay, to understand this therapy. So again, the day you're born, you have about 26 trillion wonderfully made cells, and one cell in every 10,000 cells is a stem cell, okay? And they do all internal repairs in your body. So when you're born, you just have a great ratio, a low ratio of normal cells to stem cells. That's why babies grow so fast. That's why babies heal so fast, is because they have so many stem cells. Now, as we continue to march through time, we get in our late teens, that stem cell count is going to drop to about one stem cell in 100,000 cells. Now, while that's a massive loss in ratio, that's still a great ratio to have because, you know, as a teenager, you can drink pop, eat pizza, miss sleep, and wake up and be beautiful and have abs and not gain weight. Why? You've got this incredible cheat code, and the cheat code you have is you have so many stem cells making up for bad decisions, you can just kind of get away with it with your health. But what happens is we keep aging, and as we age, we keep losing a lot of stem cells. And by age 30, we're at one stem cell and 250,000 cells. And at this point, we typically can feel not quite as strong, not quite as fast, not quite as energetic. We don't heal quite as quickly. But it's, you know, it's not cataclysmic at 30, but it just starts to slowly change. The big changes I want you guys to understand, clinically speaking, happen between age 30 and age 50. Now, here's what happens between age 35 and 40. Between 35 and 40, we have a low enough stem cell ratio, or few enough stem cells left in our body that our body is operating in what we call stem cell exhaustion. The stem cells, excuse me, the stem cells we have left are working overtime because we simply don't have enough. Should have got a glass of water, guys. Sorry. The stem cells we have left don't have enough. We don't have enough of them to keep up with our degeneration. So the ones we have left, they're working full throttle. They never get a break, and they're becoming exhausted. That's not ideal. That's 35 to 40. The big change, though, is between age 40 and 45. And what happens between age 40 and 45 years old is our bodies go into stem cell deficit. Specifically, the average person, this happens at 44 years old. Now, what this means is we no longer have enough stem cells to keep up with the basic repairs in our body. Now, not repairing a broken bone, a cut, a bruise, a scrape. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about tissue replacement on the regular basis that we need. Think of it like this. If you have a pair of tires on your car, they're supposed to be replaced 50,000 miles. but you got to keep them 70,000 miles. Well, that's problematic, right? Those tires are older than they're supposed to be. They've got too many miles on them. They're more prone to having issues, right? That's what's happening in our body as we age. So our body is forced to make bad decisions, and our body has to make a decision. Do I keep my brain healthy? Do I keep my heart healthy? Do I keep the internal organs healthy? Do I keep my bones and joints healthy? What do I sacrifice since I can't keep up with the regeneration of my body due to a loss of stem cells? Now, there's no way to avoid this because some people say, well, I eat right and exercise. I say that's wonderful. You need to eat right, you need to exercise. But every time you exercise, you break your muscles down and you have to repair those with hundreds of thousands or even millions of stem cells. So there's really no scenario where we're not burning through stem cells. And I'm not saying don't exercise. We need to exercise. What I'm saying is there's no practical way to avoid stem cell loss. It's a universal problem. And so what happens is humans don't age in just a gradual pattern. What happens is it's a huge aging study by Oxford, Harvard, Yale, and some other Ivy League colleges. And what they determine at age 44, people's aging accelerates, okay? Happens again at about age 65. And what that is the loss of stem cells accelerates aging. So after age about 44, we may chronologically pass a year's time, but we may age a year and a third or a year and a half or 2 years in that 1 year as compared to before we went into stem cell deficit. So being able to intervene in this process is incredibly helpful to slow our aging and slow the onset of degenerative diseases and problems. Now, we're looking at age 50, but this continues. By age 70, you're 1 in a million, one stem cell in a million cells. That's normally a good thing to be 1 in a million. In this case, not so much. That's supposed to be funny, but it's typically not. And then by age 80, if we're blessed enough to live to age 80, it's one stem cell in 2 million cells. Okay, now think of this. What's the average life expectancy in America? It's around 80, give or take, whether you're a man or a woman, and based on the state you're in. Why is that? Why do people not easily live to 120 or 100 all the time? Well, they don't, because once you run out of stem cells, and I say run out loosely, you don't run out of stem cells. If you did, you could only live an hour without stem cells. But you run low on them and your body can't repair itself. That accelerates the onset of degenerative diseases that ultimately have a big problem with the quality of our life and sometimes end up ending our life. So I found myself in this situation at 48 years old, guys. I could already sense the degeneration happening in my body. I'm 52 now, and I received this therapy. The reason I did that is 3 things that happen when you receive this therapy. Number one, I've already told you about all the things the stem cells do. I'm not going to reiterate that. You've already heard that. The second thing that happens is within about 12 to 24 hours of receiving this therapy, remember, it's going intravenously through your whole body, going past the blood-brain barrier, activating neurogenesis in your brain. Let me tell you how wonderful that is. It does so many amazing things. But what happens is you have all your old stem cells that aren't working as well. Within about 24 hours, all your old stem cells get regenerated by the new stem cells, and they start acting like minute 1 umbilical cord stem cells. So not only to get all the stem cells you just received, but your old stem cells start acting like they did when you were first born, super potent, super powerful. So you have all the new stem cells, you have all your old stem cells are working better. But the final thing that happens that I think I love the most is all the new stem cells go through what we call a quantum multiplication for the first 90 days. And what that means is every 28 hours for a period of time, the stem cells are doubling in number. Now think about that. That means one stem cell, only the new stem cells, not your old ones. One stem cell becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 4096, etc., etc. You're experiencing a quantum multiplication of all these new stem cells, and you reach peak efficacy of this therapy at 90 days, at which point it continues to go on working in your body based on many factors, and I can kind of go into that in a minute. But that's kind of the process of doing an intervention. In other words, you're no longer at the mercy of the loss of stem cells the accelerated aging and degeneration and the potential onset of degenerative diseases that none of us want. You're no longer locked into that. We can do an intervention, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Now, you might ask, now, why can't I go down to my doctor down the street or my hospital or my clinic and just get stem cells down the street? I will tell you, you can. And there's a 99.95% chance the kind of stem cells you can get down the street at your doctor or your hospital in almost every case are what we call autologous stem cells. Autologous stem cells are your own stem cells. And you might say, well, how do they get my own stem cells? They do that by undergoing a surgery where they drill into your hip and extract bone marrow. Somebody say, ouch. And then they take those cells, they put them in a growth medium, and then re-inject them locally to have a local result, not a systemic result, but hopefully a local result with hit and miss, results. There's no great results with autologous stem cells, because think of this: if you need stem cells, what in your body has already failed you? You guessed it, your own stem cells. So why would I want to take stem cells that aren't working very well and try and re-inject them somewhere else in hopes they will work well? So this is kind of a hit and miss prospect. It doesn't work very well, but in a world where you can't get autologous or you can't get umbilical cord stem cells, this is better than nothing. Well, in America, until 10 years ago, you couldn't get umbilical cord stem cells. You had to travel overseas and spend an astronomical amount of money, which put them out of the reach for about 98% of people, unless they want to sell their house or their car or their portfolio to be able to afford it, which that's impractical for everybody. But about 10 years ago, it actually was in 2016, the laws changed. We're able to bring this into America. But unfortunately, guys, most people don't even know that this is available in America. Now, one of the world's leading researchers on stem cell therapy is Dr. Ernest von Swartz. He's a cardiothoracic surgeon and teaching professor at UCLA Medical in Los Angeles. And his research has indicated that umbilical cord stem cells are 5,000 times more powerful than autologous stem cells, and they're less expensive. So you get something 5,000 times more powerful for less money. And oh, by the way, you don't have to have somebody drill into your hip. Bonus. I love that. Okay. What makes umbilical cord stem cells so incredible? I'm going to show you on this slide here. Really, these three words are what make them so life-changing. Number one is they are pluripotent, immune privilege, undifferentiated cells. Now, what do those big words mean? I'm going to explain it to you. Here's what they mean. A human being has 218 unique cell types, or we call them differentiated cells. For instance, a neuron is a brain cell. Striated muscle is cardiac tissue for your heart. And then you could have cartilage in one of your joints, in one of your many, many joints, okay? There's three differentiated cell types. You have 215 others. So to build a human being, you have 218 unique building blocks. When you receive these cells intravenously in your bloodstream, this is such a miracle. Here's what happens. You're being injected with undifferentiated pluripotent stem cells. What does that mean? These cells are not assigned to be a specific tissue type in your body, and they can become any of the 218 cell types in your body. You heard me right. Any cell type in your body, which means everybody on this call could receive this therapy at the same time, and everybody would have a complete customized result, because as the cells are going through your body, they are going to be attracted to the degeneration in your body. Wherever you have degeneration in your body is throwing off an inflammatory signal, and that the stem cells hone in on that inflammatory signal, kind of like heat-seeking missiles would, okay? So every person on this call, the different areas of degeneration in your body are going to dictate where the cells go and what they begin working on. And they're going to triage your body, working on the most dangerous, worst problems first, and then they're going to work their way down through less and less critical problems in your body, which is wonderful, because think of it on the battlefield, they triage people that are injured. If somebody's, their carotid artery has been partially severed and they have a broken arm, they don't mess with the broken arm, because if they don't fix the artery pretty quick, the arm is not going to matter. And these stem cells do exactly the same thing. Now, they have the potential to become any of the 218 cell types, and your body will take them and it will use these cells to be able to repair any part of your body, which means they have an incredibly broad spectrum of impact and on your body and different problems that you might be experiencing right now. Now, another amazing thing about these cells, which again, to me, has the signature of God all over it, is they are immune privileged. Normally, you're probably aware that if you get an organ transplant, you have to take immunosuppressive drugs the rest of your life so your immune system doesn't attack that organ, doesn't recognize that organ as a foreign cell, attack it and kill it. Umbilical cord stem cells are the only cells in existence that are universal donor cells that require absolutely no matching whatsoever. And so these cells will work for anybody of any age whatsoever. We've given them to, 1-year-old, 9-month, 8-year-old babies and infants. We've given them to people 100 years old and everywhere in between with incredible impact. So we're not limited on age. We're not limited on genetics, background, race, any of those things. None of that matters. And one of the things you'll see on the screen is no HLA matching. What that means is we do not have to match your blood type either because we're not giving you any blood. We completely eliminate the blood product, the hemoglobin and the red nucleated blood cells from the stem cells. Since you're only getting stem cells and they're universal donor cells, anybody can receive them with no risk of a problem with blood type matching, which is just phenomenal. That's a technology we have through our computerized cell separation technology we have. So these cells are received intravenously. They're potent, robust, consistent, based on accepted medical practices. It's not one size fits all. What that means is everybody can have a different volume recommendation of the therapy, and I'll cover pricing and volume before we're done. So I'll get to that slide in a moment here. But our doctors recommend the amount of therapy that would be appropriate for a therapeutic result based on the level of degeneration going on in your particular case. So it's customized for each person. Now, these, again, the source is after the baby's done with the umbilical cord is where these come from. So no babies are harmed. No mothers are harmed. The baby's done with the umbilical cord. In the past, we just threw it away due to our ignorance. But now we're able to take that umbilical cord, which still has an incredibly high number of stem cells left in it, and access that for regeneration. And I've already covered these things on the Advantage slide. You probably read it, so I'll keep going. What are people saying? Guys, I want to look at you real quick. I'm going to stop the share of the screen. We'll come back to that in a minute. Can you guys see me full screen now? Okay, great. Okay, I want to tell you what happened to me. So at about 44 years old, I started noticing, literally 44, guys. First thing I noticed, memory wasn't quite as good, some brain fog developing. And by age 45, I started getting pain in my right hip. Just talking about my aging process, because I got this therapy at 48. At 45, I started noticing pain in my right hip. By 48, it was a 6 out of 10 pain every day. By the end of the day, I'd lay in bed at night to go to bed, and it felt like somebody had an ice pick. And every time my heart beat, it felt like somebody was stabbing me. With 6 out of 10 pain. Not much fun. A few other minor things. I also had sinus issues for about 30 years. Post-nasal drip down my throat. It hit my lungs, caused me to cough. Just age, and then your basic age-related aches and pains that start developing. So at 48 years old, on August the 21st, 2022, which we just passed 4 years ago, I received this therapy at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And I tell you, 3 p.m. because I documented my process, because I'd seen other people receive this. And I said, I want to see if it works for me the way it's worked for others. And I want to see my process. So guys, I'm going to tell you this. The first thing that happened was that within 6 hours of receiving this therapy, the best statement I can make to you is I never knew I felt so bad until I felt so good. I felt like Superman. I felt like the bionic man. All my brain fog left. My memory came back. My mental function came back. My energy came back to what it was probably 20 years old, a 20-year-old. Unbelievable energy, feeling just astounding. I mean, feeling incredible. Wake up every day, tons of energy. Don't need as much sleep. I wake up about 6 hours and 15 minutes of sleep. My eyes pop open and I'm ready to rock and roll. And I can work 20, 22 hours and not even get tired. I mean, I have unreal energy. Now, it's been a while since I've received therapy. So now I'd say my energy level's that of about a 30-year-old. Still absolutely incredible, wonderful. I don't feel 52. I'm 52 years old. And so what happened to my problems? Let's talk about that real quick. So number one, the brain fog left in 6 hours. Brain function came back. I felt like my brain worked as well again because I had noticed some memory loss, not like a disease, but just general, walk into a room. Oh yeah, why did I walk in this room? Or go to quote a scripture verse when I'm preaching. By the way, I'm a pastor, and I would forget the verse or wouldn't get it just right, and be so annoyed because normally I had no problems with that. Just little things that are annoying that happen as we age, right? All that left in 6 hours. Number one. Number two, brain fog's left. Number three, energy comes streaming back. I feel absolutely so alive, so good, so incredible. The next thing that happened is 5 days in, my right hip hurt worse for one day, just a little bit. Like it was normally 6 out of 10 pain. I'd say it went to a 7 out of 10 pain. It was enough to tell. I told my wife, Canada, I said, honey, my hip hurts a little worse. Let's see what's going on. I'm either getting worse or better. I guess time will tell. I woke up day 6 after therapy, guys, with 3 years of really bad chronic pain getting worse and worse in my hip. I woke up on day 6, start my day, and before I know it, you go a little bit of time, you realize, oh my gosh, I don't have any pain in my hip. All the pain is completely gone. Now, guys, that was incredible. The only thing left was my 30 years of sinus, constant post-nasal drip and cough and all that. That was gone in about 2 weeks. I'm telling you, within 2 weeks of receiving this therapy. Now, I hadn't gone through the 90-day multiplication of the cells yet. Just felt incredible. About a year and a half after the therapy, I go to my ophthalmologist for my contact exam. I sit down in the chair. He pulls out his bright light, has his headgear on, says, hey, look over there. And now this guy, he never says anything to you in the exam. He's so busy. I've gone to him 15 years. He does a good job, and he's quick, and he's not very high. His pricing is good. He sits down, and as soon as he looks in my eyes, he goes, your eyes look so young. But by the way, guys, my eye pressures were still high. They were about 19 and 20, which that's the very highest point you want before that can become a problem. So he said my eyes look super young, but I still had higher eye pressures. I came back a year and a half later to get my follow-up appointment because about every year and a half I get one. And my eye pressures were perfect. They dropped from 19 and 20 to 13 and 14. So that took me completely out of risk for glaucoma. Fixed my hip in 6 days, fixed my eyes, every tremendous energy. I never get sick. When I say I never get sick, it's like I never get sick. My immune system is so powerful. Guys, I fly on the planes full of hundreds of people, airports full of thousands of people, exposed all the time to stuff. I never get sick. My immune system works probably better than any time in my entire life. I don't cough anymore at all. Guys, we're in the height of sinus season. Yesterday, I went out and I was weed eating in my lawn. I didn't take any sinus medication. I'm not taking any now. I would be coughing and hacking and miserable and blowing my nose and popping Zyrtec like candy. All that's over. It's history. I have absolutely none of that. My wife, Canada, got this therapy. She had 5 years of horrific neuropathy in her feet. It got so bad, it would take her out towards the end of the day. She'd have to lay down, put her feet up with burning, fire, numbness, shooting pain in her feet. I know it doesn't even sound possible, and I get it if you're skeptical, but here's what happened to her. She got the therapy exactly when I did, 10 minutes later. And 3 hours later, she's on a road trip driving across the state of Oklahoma, where we live. She felt cold tingling in the bottom of her feet. That was the last time she had neuropathy in her feet. Literally 3 hours after she got this therapy, her 5 years of debilitating neuropathy was over. Guys, that's been 4 years ago. She has no neuropathy. I don't have any of these symptoms. They're gone. I want you to understand something. The stem cells don't mask a symptom. They fix the damage causing the symptom. The reason my hip doesn't hurt is not because I took an ibuprofen or Tylenol that temporarily switched off a symptom. My hip doesn't hurt because I have a new hip. Now, how can I get a new hip? The same stem cells that built my hip the first time rebuilt my hip after I received the therapy later in life. And that's exactly what this therapy can do for anybody. And it's so phenomenal. I'm going to share my screen again for a reason. I want to share my screen because, let's see here. I know I can do it. They have really made some interesting changes with Zoom lately. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Okay. I think you guys can see full screen now, correct? You can see where it says Infinity Cells. Excellent, excellent. Okay, let me go back here. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Do we want to play Michael? We're going to play this gentleman named Michael. He received therapy in Anaheim, California. And I just pulled my phone up after a meeting to share his therapy experience. So I'm going to play this real quick. It's about 4 minutes long, I think.
Hi, my name is Michael, and I was going for dual both knee joint full replacements. I bone on bone and suffered from 0 to 10 in pain. I was at 15 for years, and my walk was from a chair to another chair. I just looked for a place to sit down. I couldn't stand up for any short periods of time because of the pain. I also suffered from COVID in 2020. I was hospitalized for 8 days, and I basically recovered and left me with COVID fog up to the point of having these therapy. It was horrible. Fog is not good. And secondly, when I drive, I'd have to hold the seatbelt away. My collarbone was always in pressure pain. There's a pain I was always getting, so I'd have to hold it off. And then my knees, my COVID, and then my endurance. I had no endurance at all. I would literally come home, I'd have to sit down on the couch, and between the knee pain and my enthusiastic being of nothing, I was a couch potato. And I wanted to play with my grandkids. They're coming real soon, actually next week, and I wanted to sit down, and I didn't want to lay on the floor and get my butt kicked, so I wanted to be able to get up and play and just be energetic. I did receive 3 months ago today, received my 2 cc's of stem cell therapy, and after 15, 20 minutes after getting the therapy, I literally walked all the way to my car. And when I got to the car, I had to look back because I couldn't believe I walked without pain. For 3 full days, I had no pain. It was on the 3rd day that I was actually training myself to walk again because I had no pain, and I wanted to anticipate pain, but there was no pain. But that seemed to, about a month later, is what they talk about is the cells go to different parts of your body. I went to the gym. I have 0 pain in my collarbone. I don't drive holding my seatbelt anymore. And my shoulders, there's just no pain. The only pain, I have what's called soreness. So as James said, that you don't know how bad you are until you get better, because you look back and you just say, whoa. And I am standing here still talking with 0 ounce of pain in my knees. I get some soreness, but they say it comes and then it'll get better, and then it comes. I just can't wait for 6 months to have this all. But the highlight of this is the COVID fog. The clarity I have, and then the most awesome thing in the entire world. I used to love as a kid to dance. I just love to dance. And for the last 10 years, I have not danced. Friday night, and we danced all night long. It was like my wife has a smile on her face, and everybody around. And I didn't tell my wife, I did. But one of our best girls, lady friends, one of my wife's best friends, when we showed up for dinner on Friday night, she kept staring at me and just asking me, what's different, Mike? Like you got facial hair, or which I've had for 2 years. She knows. We see her all the time. But like my skin, it's like, what are you doing? She literally for 5 minutes, I kid you, 5 minutes, she asked me, what's going on? You know. And so with that said, is I'm seriously looking forward. Praise God that He's given the wisdom to these doctors and these panels and James to come out and give his testimony and to tell everybody about the program, because seeing is believing, but feeling, getting it is a life changer. It's a game changer, I call it. It's a game changer.
So that was Michael, and he received therapy. The other thing that happened to my wife, I told you about her feet. She also tore her rotator cuff 2 weeks after getting therapy and was supposed to go to the orthopedic surgeon to schedule a surgery. And what happened was 5 days after tearing a rotator cuff, it healed on its own. Now she didn't have full range of motion. 2 weeks later, she had full range of motion, no pain, and it's like she never injured her rotator cuff, which that's not possible without surgery normally. So she was able to avoid surgery because the stem cells regenerated her torn rotator cuff, and that's totally possible with this therapy. This lady right here, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let you look at her walk for just a second, then I'm gonna tell you why that's a big deal.
I can lift this leg like this that I've not been able to for quite some time.
Wow.
And hold it.
Wow, Mom. How did you know it was turned back on? You said my muscles are
I could
turning
feel
on.
it.
What did
I
it
could
feel like?
It. Yeah, I could feel it, and I knew I could lift this.
Wow. Show me what's new. Wow.
I can even lift this higher now than I could a month ago.
Wow.
I mean, afterwards,
Yeah. Look at you. Cuckoo.
Okay, I want to tell you why that's a big deal. I met this lady in Oregon 2.5 years ago. She came to my seminar. Guys, she was 83 years old, and when she was 3 years old, she got polio. When I met her, her left leg was tiny. I'm talking diameter, not like this, like this. Her thigh, tiny. Her whole leg, she had a steel brace all the way down her leg to her foot, steel brace on her foot, and walked with a walker. For 80 years, from the age of 3 to the age of 83, she had all the symptoms of polio. She had all the damage of polio. Her brain would not talk to her quadricep muscle in her left leg. So she wore a steel brace all the time on her left leg and walked with a walker because her left leg, for all intents and purposes, was dead weight. So here's what happens. She got therapy because she was having neurological issues and dementia. And this is incredible for any kind of degeneration in the brain. And that's why she got it. But 5 days after she got it, guess what happens? Her brain starts talking to her left leg. And over the next 90 days, her leg regrows to nearly normal size. She gets rid of her steel brace and she's walking without a walker. That's impossible unless it's not. And here's what I tell people in our seminars. I have to say this new thing. It's impossible until it's not, because I'll give you another impossible until it's not. And by the way, she could, okay, I see somebody else needs to get on, right? I just saw that. Sorry about that. Thank you, Allison. So she's walking normally now, and she's now about 85 years old. This has been 2 years. Well, her healing happened about 2 years ago. So she's probably 80, 84, 85 right now. So just incredible. She's no longer has any symptoms of polio. She's walking normally after 80 years of not being able to do that. And that's literally unheard of. Like, if you ask, none of her neurosurgeons could do that. None of her neurologists could do that. The stem cells could do that. It's kind of like Nina, my friend Nina in Los Angeles. And then we'll go on. We're just about through. I'll show you some x-rays and we'll be done. My friend Nina in Los Angeles, she was stage 4 end-stage ovarian cancer. Her oncologist said, basically prepare to die. There's nothing we can do. She got this therapy. In 11 weeks, she was completely cancer-free, 100%, no cancer. And looks like we have another person jumping on. Let me let him in. So in 11 weeks, Nina had absolutely no cancer. Okay, she was stage 4 end stage ovarian cancer, death sentence from her oncologist. And he was just going to offer her basically medications to make her comfortable, to take away the pain as she exited planet Earth. She got our therapy, and in 11 weeks, she was completely cancer free. But that's not the most amazing thing. The most amazing thing with Nina is when Nina got this therapy, she was 57 years old. And for 55 years, she was a type 1, not type 2, type 1 diabetic, insulin dependent, insulin injecting diabetic for 55 years. Over the next 14 months, her need for insulin became less and less and less and less and less. Guys, until August last year, she no longer can take insulin because her blood sugar is completely normal. Someone that's been a type 1 insulin dependent diabetic for 55 years after receiving our therapy. It took 14 months. She's not had a drop of insulin since August of last year. Her blood sugar is perfect. Her pancreas is fully functional. And she's needed a double hip replacement. Her hips are completely normal now, verified by x-rays and a test by her orthopedic surgeon who told her you need a double hip replacement. Now she doesn't. Okay. So you're looking at your screen, I believe, still correct. You can see the bones on there. Okay. We'll go through a few of these x-rays. They're just phenomenal because here we can actually see physical evidence with our eyes of what this therapy does in your body. So on the left of each one of these slides is before, on the right is after. And you can't see cartilage, but you can see the increase of space growing in between the joint when the cartilage regrows. So on the left before, we have a knee joint with moderate arthritis and meniscal tears at 4.3 millimeters of cartilage. After about 90 days of receiving this therapy, we have a fully regenerated joint, no arthritis, no meniscal tears, and the cartilage has nearly doubled from 4.3 to 7.6. And this person is in no pain whatsoever, which is just wonderful. They didn't have to get a surgery. They just got therapy. And the next slide here is a much, much worse case. This is bone on bone arthritis, no cartilage left. Now, most people would think if your knee looks like this, you can't get better. You have to get a knee replacement. Matter of fact, if you go to an orthopedic surgeon, he said, they'll tell you this. There's no hope for this. You have to get a knee replacement. That's not true because the same stem cells that created your cartilage in the first place, those stem cells can regrow cartilage later in life. And here's a clinical example of that. Before, we have severe bone-on-bone arthritis. About 90 days later, we have a regenerated joint, no pain, and the cartilage is regrown. And I have so many friends that I know around the country that had knees like this. Like in my state here, a guy named Joseph who lives in southern Oklahoma. He had 2 knees bone on bone, needed a double knee replacement, but he was 390 pounds. And the doctor said, we can't do surgery until you get down to 250. It'd be too hard on the new joints and they would fail. So and he couldn't lose weight because he couldn't move because his knees hurt so bad. So he was in despair. But I said, Joseph, get this therapy. And the therapy will work regardless of weight loss. And it did. In 6 weeks, he had 2 brand new knees. And because of that, he was able to start exercising and he's lost 60 pounds. So he's on his way to regaining his health. And traditional surgery couldn't help him. Now, guys, also, I have an orthopedic surgeon recently. I can't tell you who because that'd be a violation of HIPAA. I'm not going to do that, HIPAA compliance. But he's an orthopedic surgeon that does knee surgeries all the time for his patients. His wife had a bad knee and needed a replacement. Did he do a knee replacement on her? He sure didn't. Instead, he paid for our medical team to come to his home privately where nobody else would know and had her get our therapy. He didn't do a surgery on her. Is he telling his patients that? Nope, he's not telling any of his patients that. I think what's good for the goose is good for the gander, to use an old expression, right? Like if this is what you do for your family member, isn't my family member, shouldn't they get the same thing? I think they should. And that's why I love telling people about this. Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is bone cancer. On the left, bone cancer that's eaten away the humerus bone, the upper arm bone. It's eaten through the bone. It's eaten through the bone marrow. And the oncologist wanted to amputate right above where it says before to keep the bone cancer from spreading through the arm to the body and killing the patient. Better to lose an arm than die, right? And but this patient said, you know what, before you do this surgery, I want to try this therapy I've heard about because they had a friend that had the same kind of disease reversed for them. So they got therapy. This is an x-ray 30 days later. Their body was able to regenerate the cartilage, the bone marrow and the bone. And 5 months later, their oncologist declared them cancer-free. They had no other medical treatments except for our therapy, and it reversed the disease and regenerated their body. No damage. They're good as new and didn't lose their arm. And this person loves to ride Harley Davidson motorcycles. So after getting better, they said, Hallelujah. Sorry, that's my little joke. Okay, here's a spine, bone on bone. There's no disc space left. This pinches nerves. This can put somebody in a wheelchair. It can cause numbness. It can cause pain. None of it that it causes are anything we want. And 90 days after therapy, the regeneration of the disc space, the regeneration of the bone density in the spine, and this person feels good as new, doesn't have the problem. Here's a patient with kidney failure. Their kidneys are at 24% function. After 31 days, they're at 80%. By the way, you have two, so 80 times 2 is 160%. 5 years later, they're still at 160% or 80% function on each kidney, which means they're fine, no problem whatsoever. And their kidney disease, for all intents and purposes, was almost fully reversed. And I just had somebody last week that their kidney function went from 24% to 100%, fully reversed, with only receiving our therapy and no other treatments. Okay, so that's enough x-rays and clinical evidence. I want to cover the safety and then pricing, and we're done. Safety will be just this one slide real quick. People say, is it safe and why? Yes, it is. The cells are rigorously tested and screened under the guidelines of the National Institute of Health, Food and Drug Administration, American Association of Tissue Banks and Blood Banks. We meet and far exceed all FDA guidelines. Now, people ask me, hey, are these cells FDA approved? And I tell them, it's not a drug. Okay, drugs require an FDA approval. This is a biologic. So the FDA says, here's what you got to do in your labs, and here's the tests you have to run on the cells. So the FDA makes us run 5 tests on the cells to ensure their safety. And we told the FDA we're not going to do that. We're not going to do 5 tests. We do 18 tests. 18 tests is the amount of tests we do. By the way, we're the only company in the world that has developed their own test to detect the presence of mRNA technology in a stem cell. In other words, if the mom or the dad that came together to create this baby, which resulted in this umbilical cord, if either one of them have had an mRNA vaccine, a COVID vaccine, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, it doesn't matter. That will show up in the genetics of the cells, and that umbilical cord and all of its contents will be discarded post haste. You will never, ever be exposed to an mRNA technology by receiving our therapy. I want to make that very clear. Some people received the COVID vaccine and they wanted to, others didn't. We believe in medical freedom. So whatever you want to do, that's fine, but you will not get exposed to an mRNA vaccine by receiving our therapy. By the way, we're the only company in the world that our researchers developed that test. I love that. That's so important to me. If I had the risk of exposure, I would probably not receive the therapy. So anyway, that's a thing. The other thing is the FDA wants us to observe these for 7 days in our lab. We don't do 7 days of observation. We do 14 to 21. And so we meet and far exceed all FDA guidelines. By the way, all of our labs are class 5, class 100 clean rooms, which means they're a clean room within a clean room. They're the most state-of-the-art labs in the world. You cannot get a better lab than a class 5, class 100 clean room. That's all of our labs. We have multiple labs around the United States, geographically located close to OBGYNs and partner hospitals that we work with. The source of all these cells is here in the United States of America. It's our technicians that are in the room when the baby is born who maintain the chain of custody back to our laboratories where our scientists do all the testing and processing. And then it's from our laboratories that our medical teams do the IV push and administer these. At no time do these ever go into anyone else's custody the entire time, which means we can absolutely guarantee the safety, the efficacy, and the source of these cells as being here in America and a safe source, highly tested and regulated to ensure you don't have an issue or a problem with them, okay? And so we've actually done not 460,000 therapies, we've done over 600,000 therapies. I just need to update my slide, so my apologies for that. Now, what is the fee? Now, before we were doing this in America, a lot of people go to Panama, Tijuana, or Colombia, the nation of Colombia, that are well known for doing this therapy. All three of them are $30,000 plus to receive this therapy. You heard me right, $30,000, which means if you're rich and famous, you can probably get this. If you're the average American, you can't, because not only do you have to pay $30,000, you got to catch a flight, you got to be down there for a few days. We're talking a lot of money, and for most people, it just makes it out of reach. Okay, the rich and famous have been traveling down there for a long time to do that because they could, but the average person couldn't. Well, I love this. Here's our fee schedule to receive this therapy. A standard dose of therapy, which is 2 units of therapy, which is a therapeutic result, is $6,500. An advanced or 3-unit dose is $9,750, and a super dose or 4 units is $13,000. Now you might ask, now what amount of therapy would be recommended for me? I can't tell you that. What I can do is allow you to get a free consultation. You can literally get a free consultation, and what we'll do is, Allison, I'll email you a consultation form for everybody. It's just a PDF document they can print out, and they can fill it out, take a high resolution picture of, and get those back in. Allison, they could get them back into you, and then we can get them delivered to our medical team. And our medical team will do an evaluation for free. It won't cost you anything. And they'll let you know 4 things. Number 1, if you'd be a candidate for the therapy. Number 2, if so, how much they would recommend. They've done 600,000 therapies. They know the right amount for each person. Number 3, if you decide to get it, what the fee would be, which would be one of these numbers. And number 4, they would organize logistics for you to meet up with one of our medical teams geographically, probably in your region. We're in almost all 50 states. I think we are in all 50 states. We're definitely in Florida. I know some of you may be in Florida. We're definitely in multiple places in Florida. We have a wonderful medical doctor who administers this. Goodness, I think he's in either Palm Beach or Fort Lauderdale. He's in Southern Florida, who administers therapy regular basis. So that's the fee. We have one more slide, or I'm sorry, one more video, super short, and we'll be done.
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? It's time to decide.
So guys, we say before you operate or medicate, why not regenerate? Make the rest of your life the best of your life, live younger, stronger, longer, rather than just popping a pill or getting a surgery. Actually give your body what it needs so it can actually regenerate and actually recover. That's what this does. I do want to say this real quickly, and then I'm going to allow anybody to unmute. Let's see, ask all to unmute. I'm going to ask you to unmute only if you have a question. So I just sent that out right now. And what I'll say is, people ask me, well, how long will this last in my body? There's a lot of variables in that. Let me tell you what it'll do. One therapy will produce so much regeneration. So if you get a therapy, here's what happens. The therapy is going to go through and start repairing everything in your body. If the amount of therapy you get is able to repair everything in your body and still have therapy left over, that therapy will stay and play in your body and keep working for years to come. If you get therapy, but you have a tremendous amount going wrong with your body, it may use all the therapy up just to deal with the issues you have. But you could get another therapy later just to have excess stem cells and bring your stem cell count back down to what it was maybe when you're much younger. So Canada and I, my wife and I, both got our first therapy in 4 years ago. And within 30 days, both of us had every problem we had in our body completely reversed. Okay. However, about 2 years later, because we were recommended to get 3 cc's, but at the time we both got 2. 2 years later, we got 2 more cc's, and not because we had any loss of anything happening. We still felt great. But what we're doing is about every 4 or 5 years, we're going to get a couple cc's because it's so inexpensive. We're never sick. We don't ever have to go to the doctor. We have no symptoms. We have no medical costs. It's kind of like changing the oil in your car. We're like, heck, what if this is our medical expense, $6,500 every 4 or 5 years to get a couple cc's. Overall, in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. That's like changing the oil in your car. And to feel this good, to feel so much younger than we feel, to have all this energy, to have all the problems we had reversed. So that's kind of, hopefully that answers that question. It's not like an ironclad, it's going to last this long in your body. It has to do with how much is already wrong with your body. But I also want to say this, in that video, you see the guy on one side, he's healthier, and the guy on one side, he's in the hospital. Let me tell you this. I can't tell you the amount of people that have come to our seminars around the nation, and they started as the guy on this side that was sick and had problems. And within 90 days, 6 months, whatever, they became the guy on the other side. They literally got their health back. So this therapy will work for two groups of people. Number one, you've already got problems. You've already got a diagnosis. You've already got a sickness. You've already got a disease. You're suffering. Number two, you're pretty healthy and you want to keep your health. This is like the best thing you could possibly do for your health, to keep your health, because when you have a high stem cell count, guess what? It's very hard to get degenerative diseases, because why does your body degenerate? Loss of stem cells. So if you keep your stem cells, you don't degenerate. I mean, you literally knock years of aging off. Now, somebody said, well, does that mean I'll live forever? And I tell them, no. If you walk around with an IV drip of stem cells, you're not going to live forever. But what's going to happen is, by doing this therapy, you're going to massively expand your health span. You are going to potentially expand your lifespan, where you'll live longer. But for me, more importantly, your health span, where you have more life in those years. And there is the potential too, of course, to live much longer. But the biggest thing is expand your health span. So that's enough. Who has a question? There's no bad questions. Fire away. Oh, I also want to say this. I'm going to type where it says message everyone. I'm putting, okay, healing-revolution.com. This is our website. So Allison, we could email people a document they could print out to do an free evaluation, or they can, if they're savvy to do online things, you could jump on healing-revolution.com and you could fill out your form there as well to get an evaluation. And it's going to ask you how you heard about this. If you would just put Allison's name down, Allison Cartwright, because our company want to thank her for letting you know about this. So if you'll just let them know it was that showed this to you, that would be, directed you to this, that would be great, because we want to thank those that help tell other people about this, that is helping them get better. So who has a question?
Does this help with like gum disease or gum repair? Anything if you've had teeth out? I know it does it regrow teeth? Like maybe not, but does it help?
So I'll tell you what we have seen. Yes, we have seen people's gum disease reverse to some extent. Think of it like this. Any degeneration or loss in your body that happens over time, when you replenish stem cells, your body has the ability to start repairing that. Now, here's what we can't do. We can't say the first thing you're going to do is go to the gum disease. What this therapy is going to do is it's going to probably deal with more serious issues if you have them first. For instance, we had a guy in Texas about 3 years ago, horribly painful right knee. He got therapy, went 4 months, no change, knee hurt just as bad. He was frustrated. But month 5, he went back to his oncologist because he had prostate cancer. They did a PET scan. They did a PSA test. They did the blood workup. They did an ultrasound. They did everything. Guess what? No trace of cancer whatsoever. But dang it, his knee still hurt really bad. But here's what happened. After month 5, between month 5 and 6, the stem cells were done with his prostate. They went to his knee and regenerated his knee, and he had a brand new knee. But he had to wait for it because they went to the prostate first. Now, theoretically, it could have been that dealing with the prostate issue could have used up all the therapy he got, and he could have had to get a second therapy, potentially. Sometimes people will have to get a second therapy, but about 84% of the time is the statistic, and we track all this, is that people get one recommended amount of therapy, the amount we recommend, and 84% of the time it takes care of the issue that they were hoping to take care of. It just may not do it in the order you want. Go ahead, Allison. Can you hear me? I'm going to ask you to unmute. Okay, if anybody wants to type in the chat, if for some, I'm going to click on again, ask people to unmute, ask all to unmute. I just did that. So you also could type in the chat. There's a little
Okay.
chat bubble, and you could.
The host will not let you unmute yourself. Now it's gone. I don't know why.
Okay, I don't know why it did that. I think Zoom has changed some things. Go ahead.
And then I have a friend who has that thing where he can't eat seeds because his intestine, what is that? Is it diverticulitis or something? Have you had any?
Diverticulitis.
Yeah. Have you had any patients?
Yes. Yes.
deal with
One
that?
of our educators, like myself, her name is Kat. She had diverticulitis for about 5 years. 3 years after getting therapy, she went back for her annual colonoscopy because she's having to get them regular. Her colon was normal. She no longer had pockets of diverticulitis. It took about 3 years, completely reversed it, and it's still reversed. And now she's lived about 4 years with it fully reversed. So yes, we've seen that happen. Yeah, incredible.
I think there was a question, how does it affect skin? I don't know if there's more specifics on that, but
Can you see me?
go ahead.
I'm 52 years old.
I want to look at his skin.
So the reason I'm getting close, I want to tell you guys this. I was just with a board certified anti-aging and regenerative wellness specialist. He met me about 3.5 years ago. I was with him last Monday. He looked at me and he just shook his head. Here's what he said. You literally look 10 years younger than when I first met you. He said, and guys, I get this actually on Facebook. Here's what happens because my Facebook profile changed. I have a lot of people contact me and said, what are you doing? You're looking younger than you did 3-4 years ago. So let me tell you why this is. Let me tell you, there's a reason. This is not going to deal with your skin and making you younger looking first. It's going to deal with disease first. But after it deals with disease, it'll start working on your skin. It'll increase the collagen in your skin. It'll eliminate wrinkles. I used to have very deep wrinkles in my forehead. They're nearly completely gone. I almost have no wrinkles on my face now. I'm serious. I get all the time, I can't believe you're 52, or I can't believe you look younger than you did. Now, that's just what people tell me, okay? I'm just telling you. I have another friend in California, 6 months after he got therapy. His name's Jason. Jason, 6 months after therapy, looked 10 years younger. I would say that I didn't start looking a lot younger until my second therapy, because my first therapy had to deal with so many things going on with my body. But when I got that second therapy, it's like I'd already fixed all my problems. And so the body's like, hey, let's make your skin better. Let's do that. So yeah. And also I had a pretty bad bald spot back here. I have new hair growing in. It's not super thick yet, but I have hair all over my head again. My hair has gotten thicker, a lot thicker. And that's one of the things Dr. Nagel said. He said, your hair looks so much thicker than it did when I met you. He said, you literally look 10 years younger. And so that's not uncommon that we see that. Go ahead. Okay, I'll go to, I'm going to ask everybody to unmute again. Ask all to unmute. Go ahead. Claravet.
They unmuted. Okay, so
Go ahead.
Tom and
Hi.
Claire has a question, and then Tom and Anna have a question, and
Hi,
iPad has
hi, good evening.
Hi.
So I wanted to ask, I had surgery in my foot because I have a broken left foot where I broke my my tibia and torn ligament.
Okay.
Since then, I've had 2 surgeries. I'm walking normally pretty fine right now. However, is this something that a treatment that I can receive while I have hardware in my foot? I have about 27 hardwares that I'm planning on getting taken out in the next 2-3 years. So is this the type of therapy that I wait until after I take the hardware out, or is it something that I could receive now, and how does that affect it?
Okay. So here's what I'll tell you because of what we've seen. It's totally okay for you to get therapy now, and I would highly recommend it. Your regeneration and healing will greatly, greatly accelerate, much faster than what is normal. Your doctor will be astounded. This happens all the time like clockwork. Number 2, when you remove the hardware, I just had a woman in California named Shanna. She had badly broken her ankle and had hardware in her ankle. They took her hardware out. She woke up from surgery. She was in a little bit of pain right after surgery. That's it. No more pain. and she bounced back in about 4 or 5 days and no pain at all. Like she couldn't even believe it. Her doctors could not believe how quickly her body was able to fill in the bone where the screws were, where the pins and screws were from that really bad ankle fracture she had. And so this will do two things. It will massively accelerate the regeneration, and the quality of your recovery will be better. And number three, when you have the hardware pulled out, which is now going to happen much faster than what they anticipated, you will have a much, much quicker and much lower pain recovery at that point forward. And because of the degeneration of the healing process in your foot, the stem cells are going to go to your foot, to your ankle where the problem is, and they're going to work on it. By the way, if anybody has a knee replacement, a hip replacement already, a lot of times that's fine. A lot of times what we see is people will get dull, aching scar tissue around those joints sometimes. This will go in and help remove the scar tissue so that people don't have pain, and that happens often. We've even seen external scars on the skin reverse on people and new skin form and scars go away. So that doesn't happen every single time, but we've definitely seen that happen a lot. And I know I had someone else.
What about heart disease? CAC score of 200, is that reversed?
Okay, all types of heart disease, plumbing issues and electrical issues. So we've had plumbing issues where people were getting ready to have a pacemaker put in, and their heart came back into sync. Their conductivity in the heart and the messaging went back in sync, and their rhythm became a sinus rhythm again. That's happened over and over and over and over and over like clockwork. We've had people with congestive heart failure, inoperable. I just had one in Tulsa, Oklahoma about 2 years ago. Lady came to our seminar and her heart function was really, really low. She was on the strongest medication her cardiologist could give her. And he said, we're looking for a heart transplant, but you could die any day. Like any day you could drop dead. So I'm just being honest with you. That's where you're at. And so she was trying to be super careful, came to our seminar in Tulsa, Oklahoma, got therapy right after that. I was back 60 days later, or a little over 60 days. She got therapy right after that. She came back to my meeting nearly 60 days later. This was so incredible. Fully reversed her heart disease in under 3 months, fully reversed and verified by her cardiologist, who was astounded. She's off all medications. Her heart is completely regenerated. Her output is back to normal. She didn't have to get a heart transplant. She didn't have to get an open heart surgery. She didn't have to get a bypass. And we've also had people that need a bypass surgery have gotten this therapy, and it's opened their arteries. Okay. We've also had people with clogged carotid arteries get this therapy. Had a woman that was 84 years old 2 years ago, came to my seminar in Oklahoma City, and she had a fatty liver. She was kind of hunched over. Her back was in horrible shape. She was in really bad shape, and she was too weak to operate. So they were concerned about a stroke or a blood clot in the brain because of her carotid arteries so occluded. But she was able to get therapy, and she came back 2 months later, walked in the room. None of us recognized her because she was walking hunched over like that. She's walking upright, taking big strides, lots of energy, dressed to the nines. She had to tell us who she was. We didn't recognize her. And we're like, are you kidding me? And she said, yeah, I got therapy. Fatty liver reversed. Both her arteries were ultrasounded about 45 days after receiving therapy. They both were clear. She no longer needs surgery. Her spine regenerated. She straightened up, not in pain anymore. She's like just incredible. I mean, she's one of the most profound reversals I've seen. Was her case. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll hit a meet. Go ahead, Allison.
Can it help with aphasia from a stroke? Aphasia, I think that's how you say it.
What are the particular symptoms of aphasia? Refresh my memory.
I don't know. iPad, it was Julie, is that you?
Yes. You just have difficulty coming up with words.
Yep.
And some memory loss as well.
Okay. Yes.
And
So
dementia is the second one if you want to tie those both in. I don't know.
yes. Okay, guys. So two things. Well, number one with strokes, let's just talk neurological regeneration here. These cells go past the blood-brain barrier. Very important. Only our stem cells in America can do this. The ones overseas can't do this because they put them in a growth medium. They get too big and they can't go past the blood-brain barrier unless you pay another $30,000 for a special surgery. So now you're at $60,000. Who has 60 grand burn and hold in their pocket, right? Because these are minute one umbilical cord stem cells, they're small enough, they go straight past the blood-brain barrier to the brain. So here's what we see. Dementia, sometimes fully reversed. Parkinson's, sometimes fully reversed. Always massively impacted with either one of these. Alzheimer's, sometimes fully reversed. My own mother-in-law, her Alzheimer's reversed. Her brother didn't take this therapy, and now he's institutionalized, unfortunately. I wish he would take it, but he didn't do it, and he didn't want to. I can't tell you why, but if he would have, he would be living in his house right now on his own, I'm quite certain. But let's talk about strokes. So whether people get therapy right after a stroke, which is always the best. However, even if they've had symptoms for a very long time and persistent symptoms, the stem cells will go to the brain and they're going to look at your DNA and they're going to go, wait a minute, there's supposed to be cells here where the stroke happened, and they're going to help to activate neurogenesis, or the regeneration of the brain tissue, and angiogenesis, the regeneration of blood vessels to supply blood to the brain where it was cut off. And so we see traumatic brain injuries and strokes have, I'll just say, impossible changes. It doesn't always mean it's 100%, but many times it is. Another thing that we see quite often with young children, I just had one in San Diego, California, a 6-year-old that was born 23 weeks old. He's been through like 24 surgeries because he was so premature, barely survived. And he has autism. He just got therapy in 10 days. See, autism, okay? 10 days after therapy, he had a 6-year-old birthday party. And for the first time in his life, he was able to express love and empathy. That part of his brain has just been gone, shut off, didn't work. And he was thanking his mom for the birthday party, almost in tears, from his heart, like feeling what a normal person would feel that wasn't autistic. And so, yeah, all kinds of neurological issues, including strokes, including traumatic brain injury, including some mental disorders. So sometimes we see people that are bipolar get this therapy and they never have another bipolar incident again, because the stem cells will go into the brain and go, hey, wait a minute, your dopamine cycles are way out of whack and you're going manic depressive, right? You're having these symptoms, and it's going to go in and it's going to even those out. So I can't promise that'll always fully reverse, but many times it will, or it will drastically change.
Someone asked about blindness.
Blindness?
Vision, I guess. I don't know. Does that mean someone's totally blind or?
Okay. Let me say this. The cells go into the eyes. They can pass the barrier and make it into the eyes. And so we see eye health tremendously change. So we had a guy, I'll give you a couple quick examples. We had a guy in, actually, this was a woman in Minneapolis, Minnesota, about 3 years ago. Her eye pressure in her right eye was 1, which means the eye was basically, for all intents and purposes, just about fully dead and had to be amputated. So her eye doctor had taken a test, had that eye pressure. She was coming back in 30 days to verify it was still there. And if it was, he was going to amputate her eye, or have the surgeon amputate her eye. 2 weeks before that next appointment, she got therapy from us. Normal eye pressure is between 5 and 20. She came back and her eye pressure was 6. Her eye came back from the dead, literally came back from the dead. And that appointment, he was going to have to tell her, we're going to have to amputate your eye. And I haven't been able to follow up with her to see how much vision she's regained. Excuse me, I know she had regained some vision. I'll give you another example. Someone had Stargardt's disease. Nobody knows what that disease is. Most doctors I talk to don't. It's a genetic disease that everybody goes blind from. And you end up being blind by about 45 to 48 years old. Symptoms start at about 35 typically. So 2 years ago in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, yeah, I hadn't heard of it either, little town in Nebraska, a gentleman came to our seminar who was 38 years old with Stargardt's disease. His vision had degraded from full color to black and white, blurry, and he had a blind spot straight ahead on his left eye and his right eye. Now he could still see, but right in the middle, he had 2 complete blind spots. He went to Colorado Springs because at that point we weren't in Nebraska yet to get therapy, 3 hour away drive. He got therapy, drives back home, goes to bed, lays down, goes to sleep, wakes up about 18 hours after he got therapy, opens his eyes, and he starts crying. He started crying because he could see full color, clear. Basically, all of his symptoms were reversed, but he still had the dropout spot straight ahead on both eyes. Other than that, he had normal vision. He goes downstairs, waits for his first daughter to walk down the hallway because it's a school day. He says, "Honey, that's a beautiful green sweater you have on." And of course, that's how he broke it to the whole family. Everybody breaks down crying. And since then, many other people with Stargardt's. So we've had people with glaucoma. So that's increased eye pressure that can cause blindness, which I had high eye pressure. Get this therapy, and they're taking injections to lower in the eyes, taking injections every month. A 92-year-old guy just the other day in Louisiana, no longer taking injections. He got therapy 2 weeks before his next doctor appointment. He'd taken injections 8 months in a row, no change. It just kept him from going totally blind. And went back to his next eye doctor appointment. And the doctor couldn't believe it. His eye pressure was normal and his eyes looked great. He said, "Come back in 6 months. You look amazing. Like your eyes look so much better." We've had a ton of changes with now. I don't know if we've ever had somebody that's completely blind get this therapy and completely regain their vision. But we've had a tremendous amount of people that have had partial recoveries. My own wife basically doesn't wear contacts anymore, and she wore contacts for 30 years because her eyes are just about 20/20. I've had a lot of people, their eyesight goes back to 20/20. Some even, Nina, who had the cancer and the diabetes, her vision in 10 days went back to 20/20, and she doesn't wear her bifocals and doesn't even need readers. Crazy. I know. So
I have a question. Does it affect like your hormones at all?
okay, yes. Think of it like this, Allison. Here's the best way to think of it. What if you could flip a switch and be 15 years younger? What were your hormone levels like 15 years ago? What were your joint conditions 15 years ago? What was your neurological function 15 years ago? What were your eyes functioning like 15 years ago? What was your human sexuality 15 years ago? It affects all those things. Literally, we're rewinding degeneration off the body in every area. So I used to be on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. I'm not anymore. I'm 52. But I was on it because I really needed it. Now I really don't need it because my body's doing better at producing all the normal hormone levels it did before I aged, where that would be significantly affected. So yeah, it will help with that. And what you could do is you could get blood work to verify where you're at and how much it's impacted you over time, because it may be a progressive thing on hormones. It may not happen like night and day. But we have one of my friends, his name's Ed. He had a bad thyroid problem. He was on a lot of thyroid medication. And about 6 months after getting therapy, started feeling really funny, goes back to his doctor, and he does a blood panel workup. And he said, "Oh, your thyroid's way too high." Let me get a drink here. "Your thyroid level is way too high. We need to take you off your medication, but I need you to keep coming back for blood work because it'll go back up. And when it does, if you don't have the medication, you have a lot of problems." Well, he's gone back for 2 years and off the medication. His thyroid's perfect. His high thyroid is regenerated. And a lot of people have Hashimoto's has to do with the thyroid. And I've seen so many people reverse Hashimoto's with this. It's an autoimmune condition and so many others. So.
So what about fertility? Is that what you were saying? Everything's
Yes. So I'm going to tell you sex drive and fertility are positively impacted for men and women with this. So bottom line is if people are trying to get pregnant and they've had difficulty, we've had people get therapy and been able to get pregnant after this, depending on what the problem is. That in every case, that's not going to work. If somebody's had a hysterectomy, then unless God does a miracle, that's not going to happen, right? But if all the parts are in place, there's your body's going to perform like it's much younger. And we've had women who would get pregnant, but then miscarry and miscarry and miscarry, not make a full-term pregnancy, and then they're able to carry the baby to full term and have healthy kids. That's happened a lot, which is wonderful because the trauma of the miscarriage is just horrific. So I also want to warn people that if you're in your 40s and thinking you're done getting pregnant, you might want to take some extra precaution if you get therapy, so you don't have a little surprise. Okay, just a disclaimer. Be careful, because you may be the Abraham and Sarah type here.
Yeah. I have a friend whose their son, he can't eat, like they have to make all his meals separate because of his, I don't know, it's an autoimmune thing,
Yeah.
but is that something, I know you mentioned autoimmune earlier, but like they have to have a separate utensil, separate food. They can't have certain stuff in all his stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So if he gets the therapy, he'll have to keep doing that until he doesn't. And whatever tests they need to run, blood work, whatever it is, to determine the presence that autoimmune condition probably has other indicators. But typically what we see with autoimmune, again, that's the attack of your own immune system on your body. Your stem cells are your one and only internal repair system. So they're going to go in and they're going to turn off the hyperactivity of your immune system so it comes back to where it's supposed to be, stops attacking your body so the disease stops progressing, number one. Number two, now they're going to start repairing the damage and symptoms start reversing. And many times they fully reverse, sometimes they drastically reduce, but they're drastically impacted with this.
Okay. So meaning if something was like life-threatening at one point, hopefully it wouldn't be life-threatening. It would reduce, if not heal or whatever.
Correct. Yeah. Tremendous change, sometimes full, sometimes complete. Okay. And even, so guys, I want you guys to understand this as well. If you have a genetic condition, that means later in life, you're going to start manifesting these certain problems. What if you could knock 15 years off your body? Think of this. So we have people all the time that have genetic onset conditions like Stargard's I mentioned to you, that they know they're going to get at a certain point in life, and it's going to rob their health and destroy their quality of life. So we have people that will get this therapy, even they're already symptomatic with those genetic conditions. And most of the time they will rewind to they'll go back in time, so to speak, with their health to when they didn't have symptoms. Is it genetically still present? Yes. It is genetically still present, but is it symptomatic? Nope. And maybe that lasts for 4 to 10 years, and maybe it comes back in 4 to 10 years. They start getting symptoms. They can get another therapy and, so to speak, punt the disease down the road to really extend their health span. This happens all the time, and it's one of my favorite things on diseases that are genetic that we don't know how to reverse, that come up, symptoms come about later in life. And this is the same, guys. Even think of this with if your family line has certain problems that typically develop in your 60s. Well, if you're in your 50s, get therapy. Here's what I would say for everybody. If you could change your thinking, even if you're not sick, before you get sick, it's kind of like your car. Do you change your oil in your car? The best thing you could possibly do for your health, and this is not just my opinion, this is board certified anti-aging regenerative wellness specialist. The best thing you could do to keep your health and long-term is to get out of stem cell deficit, which starts at 44 years old. And I don't know the age of everybody online. Here's what I would do. Had I known about this much earlier in life and it was available, I would have got my first therapy at 30. I just would have. As a preventative, I would have got my first one at 30. I probably would have got another one at 40. And then I'd probably get them every 5 years. And why? Why get a disease? Why not feel like you're 25 to 30 for years to come and just have that energy, feel good. You don't have the aches and pains. Your brain works well. Your vision works well. Your heart works well. Everything's working. And you just are able to enjoy life and have energy. That's what we want. We don't want to have to even think about our health, right? Because kids don't think about their health because they're healthy. And that's really, for me, that's what I'm experiencing with this. I really don't have to think about my health because I'm just healthy. And so you just want everybody to experience that. That's what I want for all of you. It's absolutely incredible. My family has, my mother-in-law, dementia reversed, osteopenia, the precursor of osteoporosis. Ladies, this is incredible for bone density. If you have incredibly bad bone density and there's no help in medications, this is incredible to regenerate your bones. My father-in-law had skin cancer, literally disappeared. He had real swollen ankles, edema. That's gone. His heart regenerated. His blood pressure came down. My brother needed a knee replacement. His knee's better. My dad needed a knee replacement, had COPD precursors going on, real bad lung problems. That's completely reversed. I mean, I can just go through my whole family without even talking about the thousands of other people. My own daughter, Olivia, 17 years old. She's now 20, but when she was 6, she got allergy-induced asthma, and her whole life she couldn't ever run or do much cardiovascular exercise, had to just take medications like crazy, and got a PCOS diagnosis out of that. But at 17, she got this therapy. Guys, she can go to the gym and run 3 miles. Run 3 miles. Work out hard. She's in shape. She looks good. She feels different. She's maybe not 100%, but she's 100,000% better than she was, and her quality of life is so different. So I'm sorry, I'm talking your arms off. Sorry.
And then the last one, someone said, does it affect STDs?
What are the effects on STDs? So here's what I'll say. If an STD has been like cured by antibiotic, but there's some residual damage, this could potentially reverse the damage. Okay. That's also, if somebody has like an AIDS diagnosis, means your immune system is severely compromised. This makes your immune system way, way, way more powerful. I'm not claiming it's going to go in and it's going to reverse the presence of that virus in your body. I'm not saying that, but what I can say is that your body would perform so much better from a health standpoint, and your immune system will be so much stronger, and you won't be susceptible to all the other problems. Of course, I know that's just one type of STD, but it could help reverse the damage. Now, if there's an active STD that's incurable, it probably could mitigate symptoms, but maybe not completely reverse it. So hopefully that's helpful.
Okay. You've been talking for a long time. Any last questions? Or I guess they can always email or whatever.
Yes. And so guys, also, Allison, I'm going to email you that form. Go ahead.
What are are there any negative, not really side effects, but, I read online, they said it could be thick, you could get a blood clot, aneurysm if you're susceptible to that. But I guess in the manufacturing process of making these, and then the repeated use of it across 600,000 people, are there any negatives that have come up in any way, shape, or form, or anything to watch out for or be aware of?
No, that's wonderful. So let me answer that in depth. We don't have any side effects on this at all. Let me tell you why that is. We do have the potential for what we call healing crisis. Now, if you're a medical personnel, you already know what healing crisis is, but let me bring everybody up to speed on a healing crisis. What a healing crisis is when your body's healing, it can experience temporary increase in symptoms in the area where it's healing. For instance, my right hip on day 5 hurt worse. Why? Because the stem cells are going in and they're increasing the inflammation as they're rebuilding my hip. Do I give a rip? No, I could care less. Who cares? So my hip hurt worse for a little while. And some people that could last a little longer. That might go on for 4 to 5 days, maybe 2 weeks on an extreme case. But specifically joints. This is where sometimes when a joint is healing, it'll happen one of 3 ways. Either it'll just feel better. Number 2, you might feel some activity, like my wife in her feet just felt cold tingling. Sometimes people can just say, something's happening there. It doesn't hurt, but something's happening. But for some people, there'll be a temporary increase in pain in the area that's healing. Okay, but that's not all the time. That's a certain small percentage of people. The other side effect that we have that's not a side effect, it's healing crisis, is one of the first things that the cells are going to do in the first 12 to 24 hours, they're going to start doing this when you get this therapy, is they're going to do a massive heavy metal detoxification of your body of those really, really bad toxic metals in your body. For instance, mercury, arsenic, some of those metals that you don't want in your body that are extremely dangerous for your health. They're going to pull those out of your tissues and flush them through your urine. For 97% of people, you'll get no symptoms or almost no symptoms. Now, I had a very slight symptom, which is for 6 hours, my urine smelled slightly different. But hey, I was happy. That meant maybe some toxins were coming out of my body. Cool. No discomfort, no pain, no nothing. Now, if you're one of the more extreme cases of detox symptoms, that's about 2.5% of people. So 2.5 out of 100 would have this. You could have some lethargy, maybe a headache, maybe some, in more extreme cases, minor flu-like symptoms, or you could have increased BO temporarily, and you might have to bathe a little more often. That's basically it. Think of it like this. What do you do with your car when you're low on fuel? You simply fill the gas tank up. When you're replenishing these stem cells, since they're universal donor cells, all you're doing in essence is replenishing your stem cell tank in your car. And just like you could go to any gas station, and as long as you get unleaded fuel at 87 octane, 89, 92 diesel, whatever fuel your car takes, that's what we're doing. We're basically, it's universal fuel for your body of regeneration. So when we refill that, okay, then now your body can fix itself. But while your body's repairing, you could have those two types of symptoms. Is there anything else that we see in any percentage? None. Zero. There's no other symptoms we see with this. So one of the things I love about it so much is it doesn't harm us, okay? One of the first things about medicine is do no harm. This doesn't do harm. It allows, really what we're doing, guys, is we're activating your body's internal repair system. Your body is doing all the repairs. We're giving it the raw building blocks, immune privilege, pluripotent, undifferentiated cells that your body's going to take and differentiate to the 218 cell types in your body that you need to deal with on a as needed basis and a customized basis for each person. That's what this does. So you're refilling the tank. That's in 600,000 therapies, that's what we see. Now, if we didn't do good lab protocols, clean room within a clean room, 18 tests, 14 to 21 days of observation, then there would be the potential for risks that we don't have because we are so stringent in our process. So the only variable is how good the labs are, how clean everything is. We go so far beyond the extra mile on that, there's no risk to the patients. So we don't have problems with that. So the only thing that you might have is you might have some healing crisis or some detox symptoms, and that's literally it.
Okay, I think that's everybody.
Okay.
We're down to 3 people and myself, so.
All right. Yeah. Well, listen, guys, it's been great to see everybody and to talk to you about this. This literally the reason I do this, guys, it's completely changed my life, my health. Right now sitting here, I don't feel like a 52-year-old guy. I feel like I'm about 30, and I do every day. I wake up, boom, I'm awake. I wake up way faster. Okay, I wake up like I did when I was much younger. At 48, I wake up really slow, get me a couple cups of coffee, don't get around me for a little bit. I need to, come out of power saving mode. I wake up so much faster. I just feel so much younger, and I want everybody to. So thanks for your time. And Allison, if anybody else has questions, they could email you or email me, either one. And Allison, I can also email you that consultation form. Anybody can get a free consult. It won't cost you anything. When you get a call back, nobody's going to be trying to pressure you to do anything. I just want to be upfront. They'll let you know what the therapy is. They'll let you know the fee, and then it balls in your court 100%. And they're going to put that information on file. So even if you get that, and then in the future, sometime down the road, you want to possibly get therapy, then they'll have all your medical records on file. They'll probably follow up and say, has anything changed since you filled this format? If not, they'll be ready to go. And then some people aren't initially a candidate to get this if they're on certain medical protocols. But our doctors will never recommend this therapy if there would be a jeopardy to your health. Which that's almost never. It's really more jeopardy to something you're putting in your body that could harm the new stem cells. So, somebody's undergoing real heavy duty chemo, we're probably not going to recommend therapy right while they're doing the chemo. We'll probably want to wait till about 2 weeks after. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not telling you that's the case. Our home office handles all that. I'm just trying to give you a hypothetical. There are certain scenarios they will never recommend for you to spend your hard-earned money on this therapy if you're doing something and you're having to do a medical protocol that would harm the cells. They'll say, well, let's wait until XYZ time, and then they'll recommend it. And so they're very aware, people work hard for their money, and we're not out just to get, we're not out to get the money. We're out to help the people that this can help. So that's what we want to do. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, James.
You're
Appreciate
very
it.
welcome. Have a wonderful evening.
You're going to send me this link too, right? For this reporting?
You know what? I'll send you a better one because Zoom made some changes and I had a couple glitches, so it's okay. I'll send you one that I didn't have glitches. But yeah, I'll send you one that has all the same content. Is that okay?
But I like these questions. These were good.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'll send you both. Okay. Yeah, it'll take a little while for Zoom to process this, and I'll get the output. When I get it, I'll send you this one, but I'll also send you, Allison, you have the YouTube version. Have I ever sent that to you?
I listened to one. I'm not sure which one it was.
Okay.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, I think it was the YouTube. I think Canada sent it.
Yeah. So you've already got that one. So when this one's done,
one to people
send
that
this to
I
you.
specifically ask questions about, but when you send me the other one, I'll send that to new people. Like
Perfect.
people that I have about it. Perfect.
Wonderful. Okay. All right.
All
You
right.
guys
Thanks, everybody.
have a wonderful evening. Thanks for your time.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.